Hey guys, welcome to the 101 in 10, where you get to see your favorite artists from around the world 101 in 10 minutes. I'm your host, Ayasha Roberson. I'm back on the scene with the new artist for this episode. So he is this country, he got like this pop type of R&B sound. He has a lot of different infusions that makes his own unique sound and creativity. And he talks about the stories of his life through this notebook of music. And it's a great way of storytelling and really telling us about his trials and tribulations, but also about his love as well. So please welcome and open your hearts to Mr. Zachary Lord to the show.
Hello,
Yay!
thank you.
No,
Thanks for
thank you.
having me.
No, thank you for being on the show and happy holidays to you. So I want to know, and I know the ladies and gentlemen want to know as well, what were your musical influences growing up and how did you become an artist?
Sure. So my mother and father were both musicians. They were in a band before I was born, and then my mother continued to play piano in the church growing up. My grandparents played the church, so I was always around the church music, um, Methodist gospel-ish. And then my father was really big into rock and roll, and my uncle was big into rock and roll. So I had a lot of rock and roll influences: Led Zeppelin, Stevie Ray Vaughan,
Wow.
Molly Hatchet. So growing up, music was always around, and I just started. My dad and my uncle were both drummers, so I started as a drummer when I was 12, and picked that up and did that for a long time through high school and college. And then in 2006-ish era, I picked up the guitar and started learning to play guitar.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
then,
How all your musical influences came together. You got that little gospel Southern background, which is different from other elements of gospel. And then you have this rock influence as well. And you actually started out as a musician. So how did you start songwriting and singing? Has that always been something that was just natural or something that you kind of just eased on into?
I didn't actually know that I wanted to sing.
Mm.
Starting out as a child, I was just like, okay, I play drums, that's fine. And then learned guitar, and I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I started trying to write songs. And at first, I didn't have the intention to sing them myself. It was just I was just trying to, further my ability, learn to write songs. And, you know, as time goes on, you're like, hey, I got this song. You show some people, and they're like, oh, that sounds good. You sound good. And then, I don't know, I think 2012 or 13 is when I really, had the confidence to say, okay, this is something I feel confident I can do and try to pursue as my own self.
Wow. I love the artistic flair that you have when it comes to you as a artist with having such a amazing and strong background of musical influence with your parents and your uncle as well, but also having this hidden talent, I should say, about being able to just kind of like sing. And it sounds so good. I mean, like the melodies and the harmonies and everything just kind of comes together collaboratively as the book of your soul just opens and all the music that you have just flows very naturally and it just has this very good, really good sound to it. Now, we're going to talk about your music shortly, but I want to talk a little bit about what were some of your challenges as an artist, and what are some of your success stories as an independent artist?
That's a good question. Challenges. I find that a big challenge is, and I think from the other artists that I know that are trying to pursue music full time, I think a big challenge for myself and a lot of other artists is maintaining confidence in the calling. Like, I feel like a lot of us feel like, okay, we've been blessed with this talent. We feel like this is something we need to be doing. And we, of course, enjoy doing it, but it's like we feel like we're supposed to be doing this. And a lot of times, not every gig is an awesome gig. Sometimes the crowd's not really into it, or the venue's not a good fit, or You know, sometimes you have bad days. That happens. So a big challenge I find in doing this is maintaining the mindset of like, okay, keeping the grind on, you know, keep going. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes, you know, it's not a consistent paycheck. So a lot of times people trying to do it for a living, it can be very difficult to maintain that consistency as an artist, like continue to keep putting out music and playing out those gigs. Sometimes it's hard to keep that consistent um, over time. So a big challenge I think is just kind of keeping the right mindset and keeping the confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest challenge I would say. Of course, there's little challenges, logistics, and making sure everybody gets paid, making sure you have a contract before the gig is going through. But successes, I feel really blessed to have had really great responses in the places I have played. And a lot of local support. Like a lot of people from my hometown have been really supportive. My family, and the guys that I play with really believe in the music we're making. So for me, that's the biggest success is feeling the love and support from the local people and my friends and family. That those are the people I really need backing me. You know, so.
Yep. Yep. And you just hit the nail right on top of the head is that you need support. Now, part of people, if you don't have like a good support system, like blood relatives, as long as you have a really good support system of people that's kind of motivating you and also there to kind of give you, not being a yes person, but also telling you no. And, you know, maybe you
Right.
need, because once you get to a certain level of your success, in your career, you want people to be very real, you want people to be genuine, and you want people to be very honest. Because I believe a lot of times when artists finally break through that glass ceiling, quote unquote, it's hard to really find genuine people who are going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Right.
And have like a family who's very grounded and of course somewhat emotionally balanced, because most people aren't emotionally balanced.
Right.
It makes things much easier for you and it kind of and it motivates you as well. And if you don't have that, ladies and gentlemen, then that's something that just have to come with inside your own self. And you can build that and create that with other people who aren't blood related family, but are connected to you family in the sense of spirituality or emotionally as well. So I think that's a great testimony of your challenges and also your success stories as well, because artists need to hear that. And a lot of times, you know, people get into the industry and they have this misconception, or they feel like they want to give up, or people around them are not really being supportive. But a lot of it comes from yourself. And then if you have a good support system within inside yourself, then there's going to be people that you're going to attract, or just people naturally that's in your corner that's going to support you through those challenging times. And that's going to build you to become this great human being, you know, this great person in as an artist. So I think it's great that you were able to share that story with our audience and with me as well. Now let's talk about your new EP. So I know it's a lot of songs on your new EP, and it's such a beautiful notebook. So the Heart in a Notebook came out back in the summertime. Can you tell us a little bit about what was the creative process with creating this EP compared to the ones in the past?
Yeah. So we released in, I think it was July or August, and it had been a long time coming. So right before the pandemic hit, a company out of Boston, Massachusetts found me. They're called Plaid Dog Recordings, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we really love your music. We'd like to bring you on for this program that we do." And the program that they do, and they still do it, so it's a great opportunity for other up and coming artists that are trying to get to the next level. They do in-house recording and crowdfunding. So
Okay, that's great.
They said, hey, we like your music. And the way it works, they fly you to Boston, you do one song, and they record a fully mixed and mastered, ready to go. And then they use that song and a little promotional video to help raise funds to pay for the EP. And if the one song and the promotion succeeds and you hit your mark, then they use those funds to pay for the recording and the mixing and the mastering.
Oh, that's great.
And at the end of the process, the artist gets a full mixed mastered EP with all their rights intact and all that stuff.
That's great.
And the Plaid Dog Recordings gets the payment for those services. If you don't hit the mark of your crowdfunding goal, then you both part ways, no hard feelings, and you still have one song completely mixed and mastered out of the deal.
Okay.
So they reached out to me and said, hey, we'd love for you to participate. We went up there, we did Down to the River, which was the first song I recorded for that EP. And it had some pretty good success. It had some good Spotify plays, and we were able to raise the money. And we went back, we did some remote stuff during the pandemic, which was a little difficult, but it was a lot of Zoom calls like this. Like they were in the studio recording, and I was on the Zoom call with the engineer, like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. And then as travel restrictions opened up, we found a window of opportunity, and I flew back up and did the last session where we finished vocals and some guitar stuff.
That's great.
But yeah, it was really cool. It was a really cool process. And that EP was a product of that whole process. So I think the producer, Mike Davidson, he does great work. He's really mindful of like, just kind of knowing like, okay, song sounds great. Here's some tweaks we could maybe make it a little more palatable for the audience. So it's really cool to have his take on that, like a producer's take, versus my take as the writer. A lot of times I'm not mindful of like, oh, this arrangement might not be the best arrangement or something. I'm writing the song for my,
Yeah.
my process. But
Mhm.
anyway, it was a great experience.
That's awesome. So guys, you have to get the EP, Heart in a Notebook, is available on all music platforms as well. And the song Heart in a Notebook is actually one of my favorite songs, along with Down to the River. I like Don't Cry for Me too. So there's like 3 songs that I really like, kind of like speaks to me, that I really like. You guys should check it out on Spotify. And there's also a video to Heart in a Notebook as well. So you can also check that out on YouTube too. So, I mean, like, Zachary, I think you're just this amazing powerhouse. I'm looking forward to seeing all the good things that are coming your way in 2023. I already feel like I'm already in a new year. Can you tell the audience, how can they book you for upcoming events? How can they find you on social media?
Yeah, so the booking email is zlloydmusic@gmail.com. Or you could just connect with me on socials. So Facebook, it's Zechariah Lloyd Music. Instagram is Zechariah.Lloyd. And there is a Twitter, but I don't use it very much. So Facebook and Instagram are probably the biggest ways to get in touch with me. And yeah, I would encourage people to reach out if they have any questions or just want to say, hey, I love connecting with fans and people that are into the music and have questions. And we are looking to try and book up some dates in 2023. So hit me up.
Yes, definitely. And make sure you guys go to his website as well. Isn't it Zachary? Did you got a website? ZacharyLloydMusic.com? No.
ZechariahLloyd.com.
ZachariahLloyd.com. See?
Yeah.
Zachariah. Make sure you go to it. And I'm going to have it at the bottom of this video so you guys can click on his website. You can check out all his music, even his products as well on his site. Make sure you purchase those products for, your holiday gifts as well. So thank you so much, Zachariah, for being on the show today. And thank you guys for tuning in to the 101 in 10, where you get to see an artist from around the world 101 in 10 minutes. I'm your host, Ayasha Roberson. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. You never know who's going to be on the next episode of our show, so make sure you stay tuned. Talk to you guys later and take care. Bye.